Welcome to Travel Secrets with me, Tanya Rose, the podcast sharing wisdom for fellow travellers. Each week, I ask my guests to reveal their 6 travel secrets and the trips and holidays that uncover them. My guest today is the wonderful Lucinda Chambers, the legendary fashion stylist and designer. Lucinda worked at Vogue as a secretary to the editor and then became the editor's assistant under Beatrix Miller, I think it was.
That's right.
Then worked with Grace Coddington and then went back to Vogue, where she spent the past 30 years of her life as the fashion director. She's worked with all the greats, from Mario Testino to Patrick de Chalier. Thank you so much. She's dressed all the top celebrities, and she's known in the fashion industry as a bit of a maverick. She set up her wonderful revolutionary fashion platform, Collagerie, in 2019 with the lovely Serena Hood. She is the most adventurous traveller I have ever met, and I cannot wait to hear her amazing stories. Welcome, lovely Lucinda.
Oh, Tanya, it's such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for joining me. And before we get into your travel secrets, perhaps you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and how travel has impacted that person that you have become.
I think travel became really important to me. But funnily enough, my career is fashion, and you don't really join the fashion industry because you think you're going to travel the world. You join it because you're obsessed and passionate about clothes and design. So travel was this incredibly unexpected bonus that was sort of tacked on, but then became a very, very important part of my life for many years and still is.
I know when we met, you said that you really believed in that Diana Verland expression, which is...
the eye has to travel.
The eye has to travel.
So much inspiration. You never know where you're going to go next. You can plan it. You can't plan for the unexpected. But I think to have been so fortunate to go into different cultures and, back in the day we could go for quite long times. I think that doesn't really happen anymore because people's time is short and budgets are more limited. But yes, I think it was an incredibly, extraordinary part of the job, which was totally unexpected for me, but one that I absolutely grew to love and embrace and get more reckless and
you really are unbelievably adventurous, so I can't wait for you to actually go into your travel secrets. Shall we start with travel secret number 1? What is the destination that you think everybody should go to once in their lifetime?
Tanya, can I be greedy?
You can.
And say 3.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Thank you for being generous. I would say Rome, because I took my husband there on his 50th birthday, and it's a place where I hadn't been before. And the fact of the history of Rome, that it's not historical in the sense that you've got to be shown it. It's there. You can lean your bicycle against a 2000 historic house. You're walking the pavements. You live in it and you live with it. And I think Rome is extraordinary in that sense.
Absolutely beautiful city.
Beautiful.
Think.
The second place I would go is Cornwall.
Oh,
because however far flung I've gone, we used to go to Cornwall on holiday, and I took my children there every year for about 10 years. And, and I have been lucky enough to be in some extraordinary places all around the world, but Cornwall is somewhere where it is magical. It's magical. And we used to rent the same house every year on a creek, which we called the Magic Creek. And even though it pissed with rain, most weeks, my boys never remember that. They said, oh, the sun was always shining. It never was. But it is beautiful.
And they were out on the beach, I'm sure.
We were out sailing and, just exploring. And I think Cornwall still has this incredible atmosphere, and the landscape is, I was just rereading Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier, and it's so evocative, obviously, of Cornwall, and it is somewhere that I think is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
Which part of Cornwall did you go to?
We used to go to St Mawes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where...
total bucket and spade, crab, crab
Is that where
fishing.
Rick Stein's restaurants are all now?
It was, but it wasn't then. It wasn't ritzy at all. Yeah. And I think it still has... really secret places that you could explore.
And Olga Polizzi's hotel, Tresanton, is in St Mawes,
we were never
as
as sort of grand as that, but I've heard it's wonderful.
Actually,
wonderful
it's
place to
really a
stay.
nice hotel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Not
Yes. So it's beautiful. And then the third place I would say, if we're going Spenny, and it was really unexpected for me, was going on safari. And we went to a place called the Makalali Lodge, which was a conservation lodge. It wasn't really a hotel. And I'd read about it in National Geographic, and we went for work, but I often tried to tack my children in the school holidays onto my trip. If I had the cash, I would bring them along. And going on safari it blew my mind. It was
So
incredible.
whereabouts was that safari?
In South Africa.
Yeah.
And actually the rangers, the conservationists, said they'd never seen this. And we went into the jungle once, and the whole jungle went quiet because it's very noisy.
Yes.
And we saw 2 elephants mating.
Oh my gosh.
And that was pretty big beans. I mean, I wouldn't want to come back as a female elephant in another life.
Oh my God.
But it was
Just brilliant.
absolutely extraordinary. And even, the ranger said they'd never seen
I thought you were going to say I saw a kill, but no.
No,
2
thank
bonking
goodness. I wouldn't
elephants,
want to-
marvellous.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it
that's
was
fantastic.
incredible.
And I think safari is really a once in a lifetime.
If you can, once in a lifetime.
Yeah. There's so many different ones you can do. The riding ones, the walking
Yes.
ones, small places, very glitzy places. There's just so many. In different countries you can do different
but
things
to look
too.
down and see 2 lions and to
Yeah,
see nature
amazing.
and it's all its strength.
And I do
glory.
love that whole thing that you get up first thing in the morning as the sun is rising and have
Yes.
breakfast and
Yes.
then you go out.
Yes.
It's really
No,
amazing.
if you can, it's extraordinary.
So let's go on to travel secret number 2. What's the most unexpected travel that you have ever done or place you've ever been to?
Well, I think the most unexpected thing, maybe, apart from the elephants mating, was I had read about whitewater rafting in Colorado, and I had sort of managed to wrangle a whole fashion shoot around going there. And I was 6 months pregnant, but I kind of ignored that. And the day before we went, my husband and I went for a scan. And the doctor said, well, he is in breech position, so you're not going anywhere. And I think Simon squeaked, she's going whitewater rafting tomorrow. And I think the doctor thought that was such a kind of joke
Did you
that he ignored it. And I did. My husband said, are you sure about this? And I went, oh yeah, there's spotter planes every half an hour. Of course, absolutely lying through my bottom. But and I said, we can get off at any point. You couldn't. You had to start the journey and you had to finish the journey.
Did you actually go on the white water?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I thought
Yes.
you were just doing the fashion. And
We did the fashion shoot. We went on boats. There was nobody to guide us. You couldn't get off the boat. Our boat had leaks. We were bailing half the time while we were in between shooting. And it was fantastic. And actually, when I got back to London, Teddy, my middle son, who I was pregnant with, was in the right position. So that was
turn him.
unexpectedly fantastic, but it was incredible.
And
there
what
were,
was
of
that
course,
fashion shoot for?
It was for Vogue, and our model had cancelled the day before. And in those days, I'm talking, a while ago, no emails, no. So I think we got in touch with an agent who slipped a message under the door of a model who could be available. She turned up, she was fabulous, Fabienne, I still remember. We cut her hair halfway through and did a completely different shoot. So we got 2 for the price of 1. We did that with a wonderful woman photographer, Sheila Metzner, who is really Mother Earth. And, by the end of the trip, we were all naked and, we had to, scoop up our poo and put it into bags and dispose of it carefully. And it was amazing. But it sounds a bit ad fab. It was about the shoot, but it was
that's
also about the
incredible.
experience and who you
Where actually
take
was
on
it?
those. Utah.
Oh, how beautiful.
It was. You didn't see another soul.
You've been to so many unexpected places. I remember you telling me a story about your first photo shoot. Maybe you can just tell us about that as well.
Yeah, well, that was reckless because I was reading about this, the most inaccessible part of India called Ladakh. And I read about it again in National Geographic and I thought, oh yeah, I've got to go there. And so I asked Patrick de Marchelier to go and I asked Cindy Crawford. When you're young, you kind of aim for the stars and you just think, what's the worst that can happen? People go, no, I'm not going. Anyway.
They both said yes.
They both said yes. And I did say to Patrick, I did give them a heads up. I don't think I said it to Cindy, but I said to Patrick, there are no hotels in that part of India, in Ladakh. And I said, so we're going to be staying in tents. He was like, oh, baby, fine, absolutely fine. I think he thought it was a joke. But anyway, I was changing all our money in Srinagar and I was talking to the bank teller and he was, asking why we were changing all the money. And I said, oh, we're going to Ladakh. And he said, well, you can get in, but you'll never get out. But I just thought, great, we'll be stuck there. How fantastic. The longer, the better. Anyway, we did get there. We did stay in tents. And at that time, the military were running one plane. I think it was one plane a week. And when we were due to go back, the military took over the plane and they said, well, you can have 2 seats. So I made everybody draw matchsticks. I mean, now I'd say, Cindy, you have the seat. Patrick, you take the seat. But then I just was like, I was really young and I was just like, no, it's got to be fair. So I made them draw matchsticks. Patrick got the seat. Cindy didn't get the seat. So we drove for 4 days through the Himalayas. And I've got pictures, actually, I've got them in my scrapbook here, of Cindy kind of pushing the Jeep. And it was so bloody cold, we had to wear all the clothes. We unpacked all the suitcases and put on all the clothes. But it was amazing. And Cindy, I've seen her lots of times since, and she said that was the best trip. I think people, I just love an adventure. And I think if you choose the right people to go with who are up for that ride, you can make them to go anywhere.
I've seen that cover and it is so spectacular. Her surrounded by the Himalayas. Yes. Is Ladakh at the bottom of the Himalayas near Tibet, isn't it?
It's surrounded by the Himalayas. Yeah. So you fly in over the Himalayas, quite scary. You land in this desert, but it is completely ringed round by the Himalayas. So you've got the desert and you've got the mountains. The Dalai Lama has a gold palace there. They're literally, the capital is Leh. There are monasteries just clinging to the sides of the rocks, Tibetan monks. You didn't see a tourist. Well, there are no hotels. So, yeah, that was punchy.
That's incredible. I mean, that's such an unexpected, both of the elephants and that, they're most unbelievably unexpected travel secrets. Incredible. What's your most overrated travel experience?
There was one hotel which looked incredible, and it was in Palm Beach. And we flew there for a work trip again. And luckily it was with Mario, who can do anything. But there was a hurricane on the day before. And we got there and the hotel was pretty flattened. And I know this sounds a bit
really
fab.
Flattened?
No, it was. I mean, nobody was killed. So it was all right. But we did the most amazing shoot there. And it looked so glamorous and beautiful. But the hotel behind us was a building site. But you make a fist of it.
And did you do some photographs? I mean,
of
did
course,
you actually do the fashion?
You never not come back without the pictures.
So you just have to adapt.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And does that happen often?
Not in that sort of extreme way, but yes, shit happens. Stuff happens. Models cancel. Photographer feels ill, and you have to kind of really think on your feet and flip it. And that was part of the challenge, I think, in a way. I've never not come back without pictures.
The shot.
Yeah.
And
it might not be the shot
that you went for.
You completely imagined. But often it was something better.
But that's why you're so amazing, such a creative, and your pictures are so different. You are a visionary, you're just amazing. I remember you telling me a hilarious story about going to some fashion shoot where all your luggage was stolen or something and having to adapt as well.
Yes, actually that was with Emma Watson, and it was her first shoot for Vogue. So I think she was nervous, understandably. And we were taking the last Eurostar, and we got to the luggage van, and we opened the luggage van up, and there were no clothes. All the suitcases had been stolen. They were stolen by the train driver, actually, we found out later. But anyway, really? No clothes. So when I got on the shoot first thing in the morning, I said to my assistant, you go to the police station, I'll cope with Emma and tell her. And I said to Emma, there's good news and there's bad news. And I said, the bad news is all the clothes have been stolen. I said, but the good news is it's Mario Testino and he can do anything. So I scrabbled around in my bag and took out a pair of sunglasses. I asked the assistant to take his sweater off. The pictures were great. I had one dress that I think Chanel biked over. Thank God for the cover. But the rest of it, and they were wonderful. I mean, her publicist did say, you've lost her. And I said, have we lost her physically or metaphorically? And she said, metaphorically. And I said, I can row her back. Don't worry, I can row her back. And she did. And the pictures were great. And she was a really big sport. So
that's amazing.
And
as you say, you had Mario, so you knew that he would be able to create something with just
actually
a hat.
Kind of probably something better. Yeah, big pair of sunglasses, a hat. We had her jumping up and down on the bed, not in couture, which she was going to be in, but in a sweater and a pair of pants. It was great.
And she's probably done loads of covers since, which have all been very formal. And that was probably the most fun one that she's ever done. How interesting. But my goodness, you have to be adaptable, don't you?
Yeah.
How
extraordinary. Think quick.
Think quick, which you obviously can. Like this. Let's go on to travel secret number 4. What is the best meal or cocktail or restaurant you've ever been to? I mean, food and drink is so important to our lives and so much part of travel. So where have you been that you really remember the food or the drink, or just let's talk about food and drink for a while?
Yes, food and drink is so part and parcel, as you say. It's they make the memories and the people that you're sharing food and drink with. I think the most extraordinary restaurant I've been is one in San Sebastian, called Arzak. It's got 3 Michelin stars. It's on the side of the road. No beans to look at. You have to book a year in advance. I was planning a trip with my boys, and our old nanny was living in San Sebastian at the time. And it was something like 18 courses. A father and a daughter run it. And it's real sort of Basque food. It was just incredible. And it was so simple, though, not ritzy. The food was, I mean, I've never experienced anything like it.
And 18 courses, you still actually didn't feel like you were just
I think
completely...
we went for the kind of, as it were, tasting menu, you know, just to try everything out. But it was the simplicity of the place, and it was just all about the food.
Is that restaurant still there?
Yes.
And San Sebastian is that area. I mean,
Wonderful.
there are so many amazing restaurants,
and
aren't
just
there?
the tapas bars. You know, I think we were saving our stomachs for that meal.
Yeah.
So we just ate
tapas,
lightly before, but
so
the tapas
lovely.
was
Everywhere
incredible.
you go.
And the whole thing about tapas, that it's about bars and drinking and eating and talking. But with this little, if I could come in another life, I would just only eat tapas probably.
I actually think that's very healthy as
Small
well
and
for
a
us.
lot.
Small
and all
and
the
a
time.
lot.
And all the time.
You don't look
Constant.
like you eat all the
I
time.
do.
It's not true. It's not
do
true.
I love my tucker.
So, travel secret number 5. What is your best insider travel secret or tip?
Well, I'm a big marketplace person. So wherever I am, I go, where's the market? Because that gives you a kind of snapshot of the culture and, you know, the heritage. And always growing up, we weren't big travellers. We didn't have the cash. And in fact, I think I told you, Tanya, my mother joined one thing which was really amazing called the Weekend Ski Club, which for £17.50, you could go skiing in Aviemore and water skiing in Bideford.
Amazing.
But I always wanted a memento from wherever I went. Even as a child then, it could have been a rock from Aviemore, it could have been a pebble on the beach in Bideford. So I am quite acquisitive. So my travel secret, so it's a windy way to say my travel secret is pack half the clothes that you think you're going to wear because you just don't wear them. I mean, I wear the same
never do.
thing. Never do. Leave half the suitcase empty to bring back treasure. And I do pack a kind of foldable little, you know, bag, just in case. It can just be one thing. I mean, I have been known to kind of wear lampshades on my head coming back on the aeroplane just to get that thing back. And I always think where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, my children really tease me, and my husband was like, inappropriate luggage. I always have inappropriate luggage. But you know, I just
and then around your home, you say that was bought there and that was bought there.
Yes, everything. It just brings back memories. It can be tiny.
And actually, collagerie is such an amazing platform.
Gosh.
Talking about travel secrets and picking things up from where you go, I know you did an amazing collaboration with the Marbella Club last year for collagerie. So can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we did. Serena had been at the Marbella Club, which is a jewel, a gem of a hotel. She said there's this incredible shop there, and you know, there could be an opportunity to curate what goes into the shop. And Jenica, the owner of Marbella Club, very kindly asked us if we'd like to do that. So it was really brilliant because, you know, hotel shops can sometimes, you know, they can sometimes be disappointing, or they can sometimes be really lively and wonderful. And people, you know, as I said, love taking back a memento, or you realise you've left your bathing costume behind, or whatever, for whatever reason, you drift into those shops. So it was a wonderful shop, very sort of beautiful and part of the hotel, obviously. And actually at first, Jenica said, you know, we could have the table and curate the table. And I went down there and saw it. And I was like, no, we have to have the whole shop. It's just such a jewel. And of course, in Marbella and in that part of Spain, there are incredible artisans, you know, particularly with ceramics. So it was really important to have that local flavour, as well as actually introducing a bit of fashion and very sort of packable, beautiful dresses and hats that you could fold up and shove in your suitcase, as well as kind of interiors. So that was something that was really a beautiful thing to curate, and obviously being very respectful of, you know, understanding the people who are in the hotel and what they would be drawn to, as well as bringing people from the outside in to just make these incredible moments. And I think we did 5 different setups. So every week and a half, every 2 weeks, it changed, you know, not dramatically, but a different, you know, different vibe, a different atmosphere, and different products in the shop. So that was great fun doing that.
And I think it's so lovely, because whenever I go away, I like to go and shop locally, but I don't know which ones are the good ones. So, for example, in Marrakesh or somewhere, there's so many amazing things.
Yes.
But
You want
do
to be
you want a load of
fast-tracked.
So having somebody with your eye
Yes.
to actually curate that is
Yes.
just a fantastic
Yes, you
thing
want
to do.
you want to sort of hit the ground running, as it were, and
Yeah.
have the inside track on, what's
Absolutely.
best to look at.
I know another thing that you told me of somewhere you went back time and time again was a hotel in Turkey.
Yes. So my family and we'd done Cornwall for, 10 years. And then I do love the sunshine. And I said to a great friend of mine, Rifat Ozbek, who's Turkish, I said, where would you go in Turkey? And he said, Maçkisi. And my boys are very different ages. So it had to be somewhere where they all would love it. And he was right. It was such a brilliant hotel. It was a brilliant hotel for me because my husband's not such a sunshine kid, but I am. And we sort of, we went back there probably 8 times and, got together a friendship group there who are all very different people, very different, from all different countries. And that was really special times for us. And also you get to know people, you get to know the maitre d', or you get to know the person behind the bar. I was taking them on my own. They were teenage years. You can imagine what that involved. Boys, larging it up. But there was always somebody there to look after them. When I come down in the morning, I'd wonder what the night before had been like. But, they really grew to know and love my boys. So that was a very seminal time, to go back and back. And another place where I've been back and back is a wonderful hotel. And actually, we just went there last week, called Trasiera in Spain, just outside Seville.
Wonderful. The lady who owns it
Charlotte.
is fabulous.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I love her.
She wanted to build a hotel that was as different from hotels as you could get. So there's no check-in, there's no minibar, there's no television, there's 15 rooms. They're all done differently. She really built it from an old kind of hacienda, white, and we've actually just done a fabulous collaboration with Zara Home. And when I was thinking about where I could shoot all the products, I was thinking, of course, we go back. I wanted to be respectful to Zara, that it was a Spanish brand. And so I, went back there in a very different guise, working, and it was a perfect backdrop for what we designed.
Love it. And
It's
the same
beautiful.
people go every year.
Every year.
And she's a wonderful host.
She's incredible.
Yeah,
she's
and
there,
she's got
but
a great
she's not
eye.
there. The food is incredible.
Yeah.
You feel it's as close to being in a private home that is a home of your dreams that you could imagine. So
that's
it's
very
very
exciting.
special and remarkable.
Lovely. So that takes us nicely on to travel secret number 6. What is a memory that you have from a holiday or trip that is still poignant to you now?
It's such a good question, Tanya. And I was really thinking about this, and I think it's probably our house in France. We were very, very fortunate to buy it. It's a modest farmhouse. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's outside Toulouse. And some friends of ours happened to be selling it. We weren't looking. And it was a very modest price. And they were selling everything in it. So that's how I sold it to my husband. I said, we
Lock,
don't have to
stock,
buy
and barrel.
anything for it. Now there's only, I think, an ashtray left of Cindy and
Of the
Richards. But they've been back and they completely approve. But it's where we've had the most poignant times, as you say, the saddest times and the happiest times. So it was where we go back, obviously, every summer and as much as we can, where I learnt that my brother was terminally ill. And I learnt it there. And it was also, we were there when I learnt that my mother was also not long for the world. But then it's a place where all our family goes and our friends go. So for me, it's a house where it's had extreme sadness, but also extreme happiness. And it's where the memories of both those incredible times, and I was actually with my mother and she was there when we learnt about my brother. And I was so glad to be there, just to be able to be with her and be in a safe place and a place surrounded by family. And so that house to me has the extraordinary highs and the extraordinary lows that make the fabric of life.
I was going to say that's really life, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's a place that it really shows what life is about. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It brings us very nicely on to our last travel secret, which is I asked you to bring a photograph. Now, most people bring a photograph on a phone that they can't find. lovely Lucinda has come in with 2 huge, wonderful albums. So I hope this is going to take a lot longer than normal, because there are going to be so many exciting, wonderful photographs. If you could show us and talk to us about them, that would be incredible.
I have got a picture here of our house in France. So as you can see, it's not grand.
No, but it's
it's
charming, gorgeous.
And then that's a picture of Cindy Crawford and me at the highest point of India.
Oh, that's incredible.
And we are dressed heavily.
With all of the fashion accessories.
Yes,
That's an
yes.
amazing photograph.
Yes, that's the.
In fact, all
There's
of those.
another. Well, that's Ladakh, and that's Cindy, I think, posing for the cover, and you can see how
That is, yes.
the
that's
landscape is just
absolutely
incredible.
wonderful.
And that was the journey back with the Land Rovers,
That is remarkable.
and that's really what it looks like, which
With
is
those
all the
monks.
Buddhist monks with the backdrop of.
Is
the
that the
monastery.
palace? Or that's a monastery?
That's the monastery.
Amazing.
And that was whitewater rafting. So that's all of us with all our luggage on the boat.
On that one boat.
With the leaky rubber dinghy. Chairs and clothes piled up on the boat.
You are so adventurous. It's just amazing.
So I just wanted to give you a snapshot of those.
That really is the scrapbook of your life in fashion and travel. Lucinda, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And also your travel tales have been incredible. It's been a joy and delight. Thank you so much.
Oh, Tanya, thank you so much, because you've made me look back and look forward and reminds me of just how special travelling is. Thank you.
you.